it's Strike for Freedom Stables here, and this is part 2 of my Breyerfest haul video. So, back to the models. I got the mid-year polo pony at the Breyer store on Saturday morning. Super early Saturday morning. And then Infinity Breyers gave me this Asher bracelet. And then in Ohio, in Amish country, at a couple of the little farm store things, I got some of these cows. 3 of them are Collecta, one's Schleich, and I believe one's Safari. But I love cows. So, yes. And in that same store that I got the 2 Jersey cows, I got a cowhide coaster, and then I also got the matching wallet, and I got a authentic leather belt, which I'm really excited about because I've been looking for a leather belt, and I found the perfect one I was looking for, and I'm so happy about it. So, also in Kentucky, on Friday morning, I went to Jonabell, which is Darley and Godolphin, their stallion farm, and I got to meet Cody's Wish and get a picture with Cody. I fed Cody a peppermint. I fed Medalli d'Oro a peppermint. It was really amazing. And they had these 2 pictures of Sovereignty from the Derby and the Belmont. And I got my picture taken actually holding the winning saddle towel from the Oaks and the Derby. So that was really neat and a really awesome experience. So they gave me those. And then at the horse park, I think one of the barns, my dad picked up the Arabian Horse book, or somewhere he picked that up. And then I got a Gone Fishing koozie and Cheers to 75 Years Breyer thing. And then when I was in Canada, I picked up a Canadian notebook. And then at the same store, I got the cows. I got a bunch of postcards. I got a Belgian, a pig, some donkeys, a Texas Longhorn, and cows. So I got those. And then I'm skipping a couple things only because I kind of have a method to my madness. I actually went to Ohio in between Kentucky and Canada, but most of my Canadian stuff's right here, so I'm just gonna do the Canadian stuff. And then I'm gonna show you the miscellaneous other things that I got. But real quick, I did get the Party Pal, and I finally tracked down a Lexington Squishmallow thing. And then I forgot my hat at home, so when we were at Keeneland, I had to get another hat, which is totally fine with me. I love Keeneland. I might actually try to send it to the track announcer and see if he'll autograph it for me, and then I'll pay for it to come back. He probably will. He's awesome. And then I got this pin that says Niagara Falls on it with the Maid of the Mist on it. And then I got this pin that says Niagara Falls on it with the maple leaf. I got this pin right before we came back across the Peace Bridge. So yes, I went from Ohio to Buffalo, Buffalo to Niagara on the Lake, Niagara on the Lake to Niagara Falls to Pennsylvania, which I'll explain these later. And then I got 2 bookmarks. I got this license plate one, and then this Niagara Falls one. And then I got this Niagara Falls blank or pin. And then I got this Niagara Falls or Canada pencil, this firework display pencil, and then a Niagara Parks pen. And then I also got that Niagara Falls sticker, the Canada sticker, and then I got the myths, legends, and ghost stories of the Niagara Frontier, and then Ontario birds. On the way back home, we always stop in West Virginia at Hawks Nest, which is our favorite state park. So I got a Hawks Nest sticker, and then I got the big book of West Virginia ghost stories, and a whole bunch of like wildlife pamphlets and things. And then the last couple of stuff from Canada, I got this Niagara on the Lake sticker, this Canadian flag sticker, and then I got the RCMP license plate. And then while we were in Kentucky at Bluegrass Airport, they have a aviation museum, so I got a little like plane spotter guide because the proceeds went to the museum. So I got that. And then we went to Dayton, Ohio to the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force. And from there we went to MTS Aviation Models, which MTS Aviation Models is the sole reason I didn't buy a lot of horses at Breyerfest this year, because I spent $900 at MTS Aviation Models, with some of that being for Christmas. So no, I'm not spoiled. I actually have sold, I'm going to say 30% of my model horse collection in the past 2 or 3 years for good money. So I'm not spoiled. I am 25. So yeah, I'm getting that out of the way. But at the Museum of the U.S. Air Force, I did get, if y'all know, my girl is a B-17. I love B-17s, so I bought both volumes of the Legends of Warfare books for the B-17s. And I got to see Memphis Belle. And I got my picture taken with Memphis Belle, and I think the few of you that actually get Christmas cards this year are going to see a couple pictures of me with Memphis. So over here we got one of their like museum books that they have and just it talks about all the different planes and has stories of them and kind of like what they do and what their purpose was. They were World War II, World War I, Korea, Vietnam, modern research planes, one-of-a-kinds, prototypes, you name it, they probably had it. Valkyrie was there. So here's just like their other like souvenir book. And then over here is the beginning of the MTS models. I got Fat Albert, which is this guy right here, the C-130 Hercules. That kind of looks like a bald eagle from the nose. For those of you who don't know, Fat Albert is the cargo plane of the Blue Angels. That's actually my picture that I took of Fat Albert. And then I got their Constellation and a Phantom, F4 Phantom, all in Blue Angels liveries. There's the Constellation. And then going over here to my other shelf, I got a C5 Galaxy out of Lackland Air Force Base, which is actually where my cousin is currently going through boot camp. Then I got a KC-135 Stratotanker out of Pittsburgh. which I grew up about 20 minutes north of Pittsburgh. And then I got a C17, which is out of Charlotte, which he actually came down and was the C17 on display at Sun and Fun. Then over here we have Tico Bell, who is the C47 Skytrain that was at Sun and Fun this year, and she's owned by Valiant Air Command in Titusville, Florida, so she's a local girl. Back there we have Memphis Belle, the B-17 Flying Fortress. Back there we have the B-52 Strata Fortress. Over here we have a Osprey that is designed to look like Marine One. It is the Marine One livery, which technically it's only Marine One when the president is aboard, but it is marketed as Marine One. And then the last plane I got for right now is Panchito, which is a B-25 Mitchell. And I saw him fly and do a performance at Sun and Fun. So I got a lot of the local stuff this year. So this is kind of it. Breyerfest is not the same for me anymore. I like a lot more things than I have in the past, and I just don't like the model horse hobby anymore. I like the models, and I do like going to Breyerfest, but I don't like the hobby as a whole anymore. You know, those of you who are my friends, I'm not leaving, but I'm not necessarily staying as active as I once was. So I'm still keeping this channel the same. I do have a second channel that is a lot more of my NASCAR and car racing, airplanes, stuff like that. And that reminds me, before I go, after all that, of course, we went to Pennsylvania, and High Limit Racing, which is a sprint car series, was at Lernerville and Sarver. So I got to see Casey Kane again, and Brad Sweet unfortunately got hurt. So they were doing donations at his trailer, and for donations you got hero cards, and I got a t-shirt from him and a couple other things, and I got a couple Casey Kane shirts and stuff like that. So thank you guys for watching. See you in my next one. Bye.